Hello, and welcome to Solent Sport News. Coming up on today's program, the managerial merry-go-round starts to spin. Southampton's manager is linked with one of the jobs. The Solent Kestrels basketball team lose their first home game in 3 years. We have the reactions. And the university's badminton team who are having to coach themselves this season. Good afternoon. After weeks of speculation, Newcastle United finally found their man. Eddie Howe has been named as the new head coach on a 2.5-year deal. Matt Renton from the Max Spice channel is here with us. Hello, Mark.
Hello, mate.
On your channel, you have quite a lot of followers there. They are all Magpie faithfuls. And I know you must have seen reactions on the appointment of Eddie Howe. So from the fans' perspective, how do you feel they have taken the appointment of Eddie Howe? It's
an overwhelming positive reaction, to be honest with you. A lot of fans at first, when we first got taken over, were dreaming of these big name managers, you know, the Antonio Contes, the Jose Mourinhos. But the realism set in when Unai Emery turned it down earlier in the week. And now we've looked to a man in Eddie Howe, who's got experience in the Premier League, been in relegation battles. I think it's a shrewd appointment. It's a good, young, attacking, exciting manager that the fans are looking forward to getting behind.
Yeah, that's good. He was, in 2015, awarded the EFL Manager of the Decade. Yeah. So why is it that they've given him a 2.5-year deal and not something longer?
I think it's down to the fact of everything's up in the air at the minute. You know, will we stay up this season? Will we be in the Championship next year? How will Eddie Howe get on? You've got to think there's a huge rebuild job at Newcastle United where there's a lot of money going to be invested in new transfers. So we have to think about, is Howe going to be the right man to be trusted with these hundreds of millions of pounds? We're waiting to bring in the new director of football. So it probably works best for both parties if we see how things go early doors.
You've spoken about attacking football, which Newcastle will look to play now. With the appointment of Eddie Howe, do you think this season anything changes? Because in recent times, it has been relegation battle for Newcastle. With this appointment, do you still see this season as one of those, or you believe you should have nothing to do with relegation battle with the appointment of Eddie Howe?
I think we've timed it well. We've got a huge couple of games coming up. We've got Brentford at home, Burnley and Norwich at home in the space of a week, in a few weeks' time. So November is already a big, massive month for Eddie Howe, loads of pressure on his shoulders. But we should hopefully steer away from relegation once January comes round. We can make those signings. But what you were saying before, we're definitely going to see a difference in style of play. Eddie Howe is very much on the front foot. He wants pressing, he wants intensity, whereas Steve Bruce and even Rafa Benitez were quite pessimistic. So hopefully it's going to be brighter days ahead to watching Newcastle.
Thank you very much, Matt. It was
nice
having you with us. Sacking season is well underway in the Premier League. Dean Smith is the most recent casualty after he was sacked yesterday by Aston Villa after 3 years in charge. Steven Gerrard and Hassan Hotel are the leading candidates to take over at Villa Park. Former Chelsea manager Frank Lampard is the bookies' favourite for the role. Jurgen Klopp was left unhappy as West Ham leapfrogged the Reds into third in the Premier League. Last season saw the Hammers miss out on top 4 by just 2 points. David Moyes, during a post-match interview, said he would like to see his team challenge for top 4 again this season.
I want us to challenge whoever are going to be the teams in the top 4. That's I've sort of laid it down to the players. I want to challenge those teams. I don't know who they're going to be. I hope one of them could be us, but at the moment it's others who've been there before us.
Eastleigh have been knocked out of the FA Cup after a 2-0 loss to Boreham Wood at the weekend. The Spitfires have been knocked out of the first round in consecutive years. Goals either side of the first half, from veteran Scott Bodwin was enough to put the league leaders through to the next round. Eastleigh manager Ben Streven believes his team needs to be better on the road if they are going to improve. Southampton women are on the hunt for some silverware this season. The Saints progressed through to the next round of the League Cup thanks to a beauty of a strike from Lucia Kender. That brilliant finish sealed a hard-fought 1-0 win away to Ipswich after the heroics from Southampton #1 Kyla Reynolds. Hampshire captain James Vince is set to take Jason Roy's place in the English T20 World Cup squad. Roy had to retire injured in the last game against South Africa after the weekend. Vince averaged 31 runs in the Vitality T20 Blast Liayer with a high score of 102 runs and is now set to help this country bring home the trophy. Team Solent Badminton are struggling in this year's British University and College Sports. Amber Pereira reports.
Team Solent Badminton are without a coach and a win in this season's British Universities and College Sports Badminton League. Solent Sports Program Officer Liam Dell made it pretty clear that due to budgetary constraints, there could be no badminton coach appointment.
So we have obviously a certain budget we work with on a yearly basis, which that is where we allocate funds for coaching staff. So we've had a set of coaches that we've had for years. We haven't actually had that budget increased in recent years. So we haven't actually been able to delegate a set amount of money to support the club.
Both the men and women's team captain find it difficult to manage both coaching other players and focusing on their own game.
So obviously for us it's a challenge because we're players who are not certified coaches. But we try our best to transmit the knowledge that we have to our teammates and try to make them improve their game as well.
The girls' captain and I, and quite a few committee members, we have to walk around the court without doing training, but helping others to correct their technique and improve their ability.
Not having a coach has a big impact on the entire badminton team.
Yeah, I think with every sport at the university, if you don't have a coach, there's always going to be that impact level.
People might have less motivation, and some people might treat it as social instead of like a proper training.
A coach is it's more like an authority during training because they might respect more a coach than a teammate. We can have some disagreements during training as well.
The men's team have played 2 games in which they have drawn 1 and lost the other. As for the women's team, they have lost 3 and drew 1.
We lost in the first one, I think because players are kind of new to the environment. They haven't get used with their partners. They haven't get used with the courts. And second game, we draw that. It was one of our best team, but I do feel like some of the players are quite nervous during the game.
Yeah, obviously having a coach would improve both men and women's team because he will be pushing us every training, every game. He will be there as well on the games, trying to support us.
Both teams play on Wednesday. The women's team play home against Cardiff University. The men's team, however, face University of Plymouth away. Both the teams will be hoping to get their first win of their season. Amber Pereira for Solent News.
The title race is now hotting up in Formula One as Max Verstappen went on to claim his 9th victory of the season. Max has now extended his lead over Hamilton to 19 points with just 4 races to go. Solent Kestrel's 3-year unbeaten run finally came to an end on Saturday night. Taylor, what happened down there? Taylor? Taylor?
Thank you guys. Here I am at the Solent Sports Complex, home of the Solent Kestrels, where the team here really likes to win in style. They haven't lost a home game in 3 years. Over this weekend, the Thames Valley Cavaliers came into the complex and had a little bit of something to say about that. After a 25-point defeat against the Kestrels 2 weeks ago, they came back this weekend and delivered the first loss here at home for the Solent Kestrels in 3 years. After some stunning competition, no unbeaten teams remain in the league as Solent tasted defeat for the first time this season over the weekend. The Kestrels enjoyed a significant home winning streak dated back nearly 3 years until their 78-83 loss against Thames Valley. In a very lax defensive performance, Solent allowed the Cavaliers to shoot 48% from the floor. The Kestrels blew open the second quarter with a 10-0 run, leading 47-40 by halftime. The Cavaliers fought back, winning the third quarter 21-15, seizing their opportunity, scoring the last 6 points of the game to steal the win. Thames Valley was backed by a solid 19-point, 10-rebound double-double performance from guard Hakeem Saez. Travis Charles led the way for the Kestrels with 20 points. The Kestrels look forward to getting back into the winning column as they take on Loughborough this Sunday.
The Solent Red Hawks kicked off their 2021-22 campaign with a win at home to Gloucestershire. The visitors made things difficult earlier on, but the Red Hawks had the advantage going into the final stages of the game, with Gloucestershire pushing hard late on. But an impressive catch from the university's very own Holden Daly sealed a 22-14 win towards the end of the game. I have the game winner here with me right now. Holden, so how did it feel during the game to catch the final ball, the decisive ball that led to the 22-point win for the Red Hawks?
Yeah, I think it just felt amazing. I haven't been playing American football since 2014 when I played in high school for the Vermilion Sailors. And I was always kind of a backup. So just to be able to get out there and have a lot of playing time and make a crucial catch in such a nail-biter game as we're leading 22-14 was just an amazing accomplishment by me. And I feel like it just felt like a Hollywood scene. So.
Yeah, you were out of the game for 7 years.
Yes.
And then you came back and you were able to join the Red Hawks and, for this season, which led to the last game in which you won thanks to your catch.
Yeah.
So how do you feel, being back in the game after 7 years?
Oh, I love it. I feel like I'm just picking up right where I left off. I love the camaraderie. That's the best thing about American football. And I'm just happy to be a part of the team because obviously this team win wasn't just me. So I think, we're going to take this momentum and carry on in the future. And I'm just glad to be back in it.
You did play in the USA before you came here.
Yes. Yeah.
So are there any differences, in the play style, in the structure of the team between the team you played for in US and the Red Hawks now?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing is back in America, we practice for 6 days a week. Here at Uni, it's only 2. As well as we have 2-day practices that reach to 6 hours sometimes in the month of August in very hot weather. So I think the game here is a lot more slower paced. So that's the biggest thing. I think the biggest difference is playing in America compared to the UK.
Well, 2 trainings was enough to get the win. So
sure was.
Yeah. That's it for this evening's news with us on Solent Sport News. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and YouTube at Solent Sport News. Thank you.